Welcome back. This is part 2 of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And we've already covered the first 2 lines basically. And now what we're going to be doing is just picking up where we left off. When I say the next 2 lines, I'm actually talking about right here after the double bar. Here we are as in olden days. And we're just going to take that all the way through to the end of the next line. You can see there's another double bar there actually. These double bars, every time you see that in a piece of music, it's an indication of a new section or a new part that's beginning or ending in this case, right? So you can kind of just see the beginning of that, it starts at that double bar here, and then the end of it is at the double bar there. So we're going to cover that much, and then like I said in the first video, that leads us back in to the same chord progression and melody that we had at the beginning. All right, so we'll really just have one more video to cover everything else kind of at the end of the song. So let's go over these 2 lines. We've got some familiar chords and we've also got some unfamiliar chords. We're going to go over both of them. So we've got an F major 7. Here we are, and an F minor. So remember, a minor chord, you're just changing the middle note. Right? But it also says major 7. So that means our thumb is still going to come down a half step just like we would for the regular F major 7. Right? So it's here we are, and that's a very distant, interesting chord, but this is kind of a jazz type of arrangement, so we're going to have some of that. Here we are as in E minor 7, E flat diminished 7. So here we have a chord that you've not encountered quite a bit, and you'll need to refer to the chord chart I provided for you. The supplemental chord chart talks about how to build these, but I'm just going to show you real quickly what you do with an E flat diminished 7. That's what this little degree sign is, by the way, right here. So whenever you see this little degree sign, that's indicating diminished. Another way that could have been written is to say E flat dim 7. And also that can sometimes be written as just a E flat minus 7. So there's different ways to write these chords. They've chosen to use the little degree sign. That's fine. E flat diminished 7 is an E flat 7. So here's our E flat. We're going to make it 7 by moving our thumb down a whole step. And to make it a diminished 7, what I'm going to do is take the entire right hand part of the chord down a half step. So I'm going to do this one at a time. Half step, half step, half step. And I still have the E flat in the left hand. All right, so we're going from that E minor 7 just before it down to E flat diminished 7. And you may want to just practice this series, the E minor 7, E flat diminished 7, D minor 7, just because you can see there's kind of a pattern here. All right, so the left hand is just going down in half steps. All right, but the right hand has this sort of, kind of like little tiny changes, and you're going to want to practice that as a series. All right, so we have E minor 7. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days, and then we have another new chord, G7 sharp 5. Okay, really this one's pretty straightforward. You play a G7, it's a G chord with the bottom note down a whole step, and to make it sharp 5, just look at your 5, your 5th finger in the right hand is going to go up a half step. That's a sharp 5, right? So instead of this chord, my right hand 5th finger is going to go up to the D sharp. There it is. I know it says E flat on the piano, but it's D sharp. So sharp always means a half step higher or half step up on the piano. Okay? So again, we're going to want to look at those 4 chords and just start to practice. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of your, and you're going to want to figure out, okay, that entire line. Okay, F major 7, F minor major 7, E minor 7, E flat diminished 7, D minor 7, and then G7 sharp 5. Going to a C major 7. Okay, so that's sort of the full line. is, how many chords is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chords in a row. That's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you'll just want to figure out, okay, how do I do that left hand? Okay, I can kind of keep my C position here and just kind of walk down F, E flat. Maybe if I start with my thumb on F. E flat, D is my 4th finger, and then my thumb can reach up to this G. And now we can go down to C. So that kind of works. And then my right hand's going to start here. Yeah, it's a nice chord progression. All right, second half of this, we got some more gnarly chords. F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Another one of the chords that's in the supplemental chord chart. So let's just read this from left to right. It's an F something. It's an F sharp something. So this is F. We're going to make it F sharp. Remember, sharp is a half step higher. Same note as G flat, right? But we're going to call it F sharp. And that chord would normally be a straight across the keys. We're going to make it minor. We're going to make it a 7, which means the thumb comes down a whole step. And now, instead of sharp 5, like we had on the chord earlier, it's going to be a flat 5. So my 5th finger is going to come down a half step. Down here. So that's interesting. It's going to end up all white keys in the right hand. That's still an F sharp chord because your left hand is going to be playing the F sharp / G flat in the bass. This is a very nice jazzy sounding chord again. All right, so we're going to have that F sharp minor 7 flat 5, the F sharp on the bass, and then B7. So it's just, all right. And we're going to go to an E minor, E flat 7, G over D, A minor 7, D7. All right, so now we're kind of getting back to, D minor 7 again, G7. Okay, so again, a lot of chords on this line that you're going to have to just float into, but most of them are okay. This is just this F sharp minor 7 flat 5, which is a mouthful to even say. B7, E minor, E flat 7, G over D, A minor 7, D7, D minor 7, G7. Okay, so lower the left hand, F sharp, B to E, half step down to E flat, sorry, D in the bass, A, back to D, D again, and to G. So again, you spend some time practicing just the left hand, you'll get a sense of the bass line. Here, faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Okay, so it has its own little melody almost that you have to follow, and you have to figure out what your fingers are going to do. What's the finger order that you're going to play here? We were playing that C here, so we can probably just grab that F sharp with our 2nd finger. You can either go down to B or up to B. Either one I think is fine. I like doing those low ones. I usually play these in octaves, so I like the low. Then E, down to E flat, then D, all half steps again, and then A, back to D, D again, and then G, right? So I can kind of, I think it works better going down to the B because you can kind of stay in position. Okay, so once again, faithful friends, F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Faithful friends who are, so see, I went up. I said I was going to go down. Faithful friends, there we go, that sounds better, who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Okay, so this is sort of like setting us up to go right back into through the years we all will be together. right? So it starts the melody and the chord progression from the beginning of the song at that point. There's a lot on these two lines, and this is probably the majority of the practice you're going to have in this song is these two lines, just going from chord to chord. So get it hand separate. Take about 4 or 5 chords at a time and just run through them and get used to them. Try singing along if you can. And once it becomes smooth, you move on and add the next set of chords and see if you can do 7 or 8 chords in a row until you can get to where you can play through those entire 2 lines confidently. That's about it. Good luck.